Welcome to the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew. Details are at the bottom of your screen right now, so please do make sure you are following our social media. Whichever your social media of choice is, search for us, find us, we'll be there, because as it stands, this is our second last episode that will go to TV on either Channel 31 or Channel 44 in Adelaide, because at the end of this month, the government are shutting off community TV permanently. That's it, done and dusted. So if you've been following us, great. Please make sure you keep following us, but also follow Channel 31 and Channel 44 to keep up to date with the latest on that space, and also so you can see what they're doing with it all as well. And if you haven't already, then sign the petitions, write to your local member, all those things. Try and raise some awareness so we can try and turn the decision the other way, and we can continue broadcasting on television beyond June 30. But as it stands, this is our second last episode going to TV. If you'd like to help us directly, please do. We have a Patreon page, so just search for us on Patreon, and we're doing a big drive on that, so any help you can give us will be greatly appreciated. And while I'm on it, I just want to say a quick thank you to our wonderful sponsors, Squidding Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Thank you so much. Now, as we have a limited number of weeks, only 2 now, with everything going on, we wanted to do something this week that we've never actually done intentionally before, and that is to put a celebratory twist on things, and that is to celebrate rock and metal that comes from either indigenous cultures, celebrates indigenous cultures, or comes from people of colour. So we've never done this on purpose before. We're going to do it today, and there's only one really good way to kick this off, and that's with an indigenous band from Australia, and this is Southeast Desert Metal with Rainmaker, as requested by a lot of you out there. Enjoy. Now, to make this episode work, we took a lot of your feedback out there, and we took Patreon feedback as well, and we also made some picks of our own behind the scenes, and coming up next is one of those. So to that end, we're going to throw to Jimi Hendrix now with Rock Me Baby from Live at Monterey. Some of these clips are going to be pretty obvious, and some of them are going to be from artists that are a little more overlooked, and I think this falls into the latter category. I'm going to go now to Fishbone with their track Servitude. Now, we couldn't do this without featuring Slash, I don't think. We have to have Slash on here. So this is a live performance of Slash with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators with Shadow Life. Time now for a band that I think is widely regarded as being extremely underrated, and their influence on music over the years and other bands that came after them is very well documented. I'm going to be talking about King's X now, and we're going to go with their track Black Flag. Another popular one from the public out there, doesn't need much introduction. This is a band that's been around for a while now, and they've got some great fucking albums, so if you haven't checked out this band, please do. So this is Seven Dust with Enemy. And this whole episode is celebrating people of colour, indigenous cultures and things like that, and so we have to go across the ditch to our New Zealand friends with Alien Weaponry and their latest, which has a bit of a political message in this about history and that's relevant to what this whole thing is all about. So this is one of their latest ones. It's not on the album, it's a standalone single. This is Ahika. Switching gears just a little bit, but it's still a pretty ballsy track. I'm going to go to the UK, and this is Skunk and Anansi, and this is one off of their Greatest Hits album. This is an unreleased track until that point. This is Because of You. Time for a trip down memory lane to really go back to where the crossover sort of stuff really began. We did have a few crossover ideas, but this is the one that really had to make the cut. So without any further ado, here is Run DMC featuring members of Aerosmith with Walk This Way. Time to go now to another really fitting track, and this is to get the blood pumping again. We're going to go a bit heavier. This is Testament with Native Blood. Time now for a band I'm not sure we've ever actually played on the show before, and this is, when this album came out, it had some, like a second disc, which was full of sort of rockier, heavier sort of stuff, and this is not a band we regularly play on the show, obviously. This is Cypress Hill with Rock Superstar. Enjoy. Now we're going to go to a classic that is a staple of what we do here. This band really doesn't need any introduction, I should say. So this is, without any further ado, Thin Lizzy with Jailbreak. Got some classics, and now we're going to go to a much newer one. This is only a couple of years old, but for some reason this particular track is probably more relevant than ever before with everything going at the moment. And we'd be remiss in doing this if we didn't go to a bit of Body Count. This is Body Count with Black Hoodie. Now, some of these are going to be incredibly obvious choices, I'm well aware of that, and the next one is probably well and truly fitting into that wheelhouse, but no matter what happens, this song just never seems to go out of date in any way, shape or form. So without any further ado, here's the much loved Living Colour with Cult of Personality. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Details are at the bottom of the screen as always. Now, it's more important than ever to follow us, so please follow our social media channels, because at the end of this month, if Community TV is shut off, we will be still going, so make sure you're following us. But also, please follow Channel 31 and Channel 44 to keep up to date with the latest on any developments that may come about if we get a last-minute reprieve. We're hoping still to get the decision overturned from the government, but just in case, if that doesn't happen, follow us, follow the networks, and also tune in next week for our finale on television. To make this a special event, we usually do a big marathon of content at the end of every month. So next week we're planning a 6-hour special episode, which will be a bunch of us here looking back over the past 9.5 years. Since 2012 we've been on your television screens, so thank you for watching us over the years. But yeah, next week is the finale, and it's a big look back on all the things we've done with some unaired content from years gone by, as well as some personal highlights. And if there's anything you'd like to see added to that episode, then get involved and let us know via our inboxes. So again, details are at the bottom of the screen. Now, a special thank you once again to our beautiful sponsors, Squidding Screen Printing, Alt Cult and Rockstar Finance. Thank you so much for your support. And if you would like to help us out, we will greatly appreciate it. We do have a Patreon page out there. We are doing a drive on that at the moment to try and keep things afloat in the future. So please do search for Patreon and search for us on that platform. And any little bit you can give us would be greatly appreciated. Time to wrap up this episode though. I do have one more clip to play before we roll the credits. And I don't think it'd be fitting to close out this episode without playing this particular band. So without any further ado, to wrap things up, we're going to go with Yothu Yindi and their track Tribal Voice, which I think is pretty much the perfect way to close out this episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed this theme. We'll see you again for our television finale next week. Until then, drink up, rock on.